Hello guys, how are you? Hope so you are fine. In this video, we will show you the top 10 terrible tragedies of the Boy Scouts. Let's start the video.
Number 10.
Freak accidents. On the first day of the 2005 National Scout Jamboree in Virginia, 4 Boy Scout leaders took on the physical task of erecting a dining tent. Moments later, a weekend that was supposed to be filled with festivity turned tragic. As the men were raising one of the metal poles, it tilted and struck a power line, setting ablaze the entire pavilion. While their children and fellow scouts looked on in horror, the canvas, engulfed in flames, encased the men within the inferno. On that dreadful afternoon, Michael J. Scheid, 49, Ronald H. Bitzer, 58, Scott E. Powell, 57, and Michael LaCroix, 42, perished amid their loved ones.
Number 9.
Branding recreations. In the Boy Scouts, it is common practice for adult leaders, who act as role models and mentors, to create their own activities within the troop. Such recreation can include camping trips, community service, and leadership activities. In 1982, 2 Scout leaders from Missouri had a different notion when it came to insightful guidance and growth. While on a weekend campout in Huntsville, J.B. Gatzmeyer, 37, and Kenneth Willard, 19, had the bright idea to leave a lasting impression on 7 boys whose ages ranged from 11 to 15. Armed with a heated coat hanger twisted into the shape of male genitalia, Willard branded the buttocks of 6 of the boys, with one receiving brands on both arms, while Gatzmeyer sat on their legs. Evidently, the 2 stooges with an odd sense of humor said that the boys would be banned from future outings if they did not participate in the branding.
Number 8.
Routine tragedy. In summer 1982, 29 Boy Scouts and adults set out on an expedition around and on the mountain lakes in southeastern British Columbia. Unexpectedly, a storm swept through the region while the boys and their scout leaders were rowing through the waters of Lake McNaughton. In the aftermath of the downpour, 2 canoes were lost along with their occupants. Following a lengthy air search, the bodies of 4 teenage American scouts and 2 adults were pulled from the icy waters. They were still wearing their life jackets. On June 11, 2008, an EF3 tornado descended on the Little Sioux Scout Ranch in western Iowa with winds of 233 km per hour, 145 miles per hour. In a state of hysteria, all scouts were ordered to take refuge in their cabins because there were no basements or in-ground shelters. As the tornado hit, one cabin was leveled, causing the brick chimney to collapse onto the boys. Overall, more than 40 individuals were injured. Many sustained broken bones that required multiple surgeries and months of rehabilitation.
Number 6.
Unanswered heartache. Returning home from a church-sponsored camping trip in Blackstone, Virginia, 4 Boy Scouts were passengers in an SUV driven by Scoutmaster John Oliver. It was November 5, 2006, and weather conditions were clear and calm with no foreseeable dangers. For reasons that remain unknown, Oliver, 43, veered off the road and struck a large maple tree in Southampton County. The road was unremarkable other than a slight curve that did not require a car to slow down from the posted 55 miles per hour speed limit.
Number 5.
Circle of fire. Flammable liquids used as fire starters have been prohibited by the Boy Scouts since the organization's inception. Whenever a fire is necessary, 2 adults are required to supervise. Such standards were neglected on the evening of July 6, 2008, at the Joseph A. Sataw Reservation in Waretown, New Jersey. That evening, 18-year-old Eagle Scout Brian Lenz was showing off to a group of scouts a trick he called Circle of Fire. Channeling his inner Houdini, Lenz squirted rubbing alcohol in a pattern on a table and then set it alight. Believing that the flame was dying, the Eagle Scout poured on more alcohol. Within a second, the liquid stream caught fire and found its way back to the bottle he was holding.
Number 4.
A wrong turn. On November 15, 1958, 6 Boy Scouts set out on a hike in the Santa Rita Mountains south of Tucson. The temperature was comfortably warm with calm winds and no chance of rain. It was supposed to be a scenic, joyous occasion for the kids who were celebrating the 12th birthday of fellow scout David Greenberg. At some point in their journey up the mountain, 3 scouts decided to head back down due to fatigue. It was the last time that anyone saw them alive. At the time, methods of weather forecasting were unsophisticated and they missed an approaching storm. It ravaged the terrain and changed the lives of 3 families forever. As the sun set, the winds kicked up and showers poured from the sky. By midnight, several feet of snow blanketed the trails, the landmarks, and the bodies of the 3 boys.
Number 3.
Knife-wielding paranoid schizo. In August 2011, Valerie Henson of northern Indiana called 911 to report that her son, 22-year-old Shane Golitko, had assaulted her in the home they shared. With a broken arm, Henson fled to a neighbor's house while her crazed son grabbed a large knife and took off into the woods. At that time, 76-year-old Arthur L. Anderson was leading a hiking trip near Bunker Hill when he stopped the young scouts to discuss a particular tree. Moments later, the knife-wielding lunatic emerged from the brush and plunged the 30-centimeter (12-in) knife into Anderson's neck. As suddenly as he had appeared, Golitko vanished. The boys were physically unharmed yet horrified as they watched their beloved scout leader bleed to death right before their eyes.
Number 2.
Alone in a tent. On April 24, 1970, 6 instructors and 24 boys arrived on the expansive grounds of St. Basil the Great Catholic Church in Pennsylvania. About 183 meters (600 feet) from the church buildings, the group of wide-eyed young children enjoying the beauty of spring had set up camp while blissfully anticipating the weekend ahead. All innocence ended less than 48 hours later. In the early morning hours of April 26, the lifeless body of 11-year-old Terry Bowers was discovered. Alone in his tent, the boy had been stabbed 4 or 5 times while lying in his green sleeping bag. The sheer brutality was almost as incomprehensible as the reason why someone would commit such a monstrous and senseless murder.
Number 1.
The killer was here. The night was riddled with eerie happenings. From shadowy figures and strange noises to faint screams and cries, the Girl Scout camp outside Locust Grove, Oklahoma, will forever be remembered as a place of horrors. Though we've focused on the Boy Scouts until now, what happened to 3 girls in the middle of the night 4 decades ago continues to haunt countless residents. In the early morning hours of June 13, 1977, a counselor walking the campgrounds discovered the body of 10-year-old Doris Milner sprawled along a dirt trail. Nearby lay Lori Farmer, 8, and Michelle Hughes, 9, dead inside their zipped sleeping bags a short distance from their tent. 2 of the girls had been beaten to death while the other had been strangled. All 3 had been sexually assaulted. All this is for today's video. Hope so, you liked this video. Please press the subscribe button for more videos. Thank you.